So Alex, I would love it if you would just give us a quick preview of the new 2019-2020 collection that you just came out
Oh, I would love to. So the new collection is inspired from paintings that I did in 2003, and I kind of revisit iconography that I developed through my years of painting. And it started with this kind of flower, kind of orb form that originally started on a butterfly, but now it's kind of morphed into more of a flower blossom. And it's just made up, and I kind of play with it and develop it over the years. But this, it's just like kind of a made up plant fantasy. And it has leaves and berries are kind of the iconography that I've been developing over the years. And I put berries in a lot of fabrics like Briar and Shelby and some other ones that I can't think off the top of my head.
It's stunning.
But I love berries.
One of the things that I love so much about your work is it's so uniquely you. Like, there is no question when you're looking at an Alex K. Mason painting or fabric or wall covering. And it's funny because, you know, you don't really realize these things until you hear it. Like when you were talking the other day about the iconography around the globe or the sphere and the berries. Now I'm like, oh, that's one of the common threads.
Yes, that you'll see over and over, and it might be deconstructed in a different way or presented in a different way. Like sometimes it's floating, sometimes it's a flower, or sometimes it's just in the air, or it's in the damask of Crown Derby. So it takes on different forms, but it's always kind of there in one way or another.
Yeah. And can I ask you just to tell briefly the story of where this kind of inspiration came from when you were living in New Zealand?
Oh yeah, so I had just finished my MFA at Pratt, and I met my future husband who was working on Lord of the Rings. We moved to New Zealand, and I thought I would never paint again. I was just traumatized from the MFA program. So I stopped painting for a year, but in that year I was out in nature, we were hiking, we were, you know, in the bush all the time. And one day I finally said, okay, I'm ready to paint again. And almost all of my artwork is based on paintings that I did in New Zealand in 1999.
So
like
cool.
It references that and goes back to that. And I've just been building on it for all these years.
It's a really interesting thing how our lives kind of evolve, and like what, you know, was initially something that you were not feeling super inspired and creative at a period of your life ended up becoming, you know,
the biggest inspiration. Yeah, it really did.
And having spent some time in New Zealand, I can say that it is just like you're in an alternate universe. I mean, it's just like the flora and the fauna, like you said, is out of this world and magical. So I love that you've been able to capture that.
Well, the other thing about this collection that is new, kind of a new focus for Ferrick Mason, is the multiple colors. So this collection is all about color. It's a real focus on color, and I love color. I mean, I kind of like, my art is really driven by my love of color. And the textile line too. Sometimes I try to do more neutral things, but no one wants it. They want Ferrick Mason color. Yeah, they come for color.
They do.
So this new collection is all about color.
Well, we
and this is
love us some color here.
Yeah,
so
I
we're
do
with
too.
you.
And this is my favorite colorway because it's so crazy. I mean,
beautiful.
When I never thought I would come up with this colorway, but somehow I think it just works.
It is stunning. So this is Kinkead.
This is Kinkead, and this is named after my maiden name.
Love it.
And I do a lot of family names and friend names. So this is the maiden name the K for Alex K. Mason.
Cool.